The Multi-Orgasmic Millionaire with Tilly Storm is the only sex podcast for high-achieving leaders wanting to experience the best sex and epic relationships of their lives without dragging their partner to therapy, blaming it on their hormones, or trying things in the bedroom that don't feel authentic. I'm your host today, Tilly Storm, top 20 sex coach in the world. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Well, that is a wrap for the Sexy Feminine Leadership Summit. For all of those who attended, thank you so much. And you know what's awesome? It's actually not too late to sign up. You have until June 26th to sign up and watch all of the replays from the summit. Today, our topic is going to be on surrender. I think surrender is one of the things that many women who come to me struggle with because they don't know how to let go of control. A lot of you guys are control freaks. You are very type A. You are way in your head all the time. You are 10 steps ahead of your children, of your spouse, of everything in your life. And you're always thinking and planning and doing all of the things that the idea of surrendering and letting go is something that your feminine heart and your feminine soul craves more than anything in the freaking world, but you have no idea how to do it. And when it comes to our circumstances in life, surrendering is something that we are usually at some point in our life all kind of back against the wall, forced into having to figure out for ourselves how to surrender. Because there are things that happen in our life that kind of force us there, that force us in that position. And for example, last year, I faced a big burnout in my business, followed by a lot of despair, depression, sorrow, not knowing what the hell am I doing, just being completely in the dark around my life, not knowing what was going on. Wanting to take my business to the next level, wanting to work with clients at a completely different level, and nothing I was doing was working. Nothing. Every plan that I made, every launch that I had, it was just like nothing. No one was paying attention. Nobody freaking cared. And it was definitely one of my lowest, darkest moments. And in these really dark moments where I didn't know what was going on or how I was going to move forward because I'd already done everything. It was in those dark moments that I learned the power of surrender. Have you ever experienced a time in your life where you were so with yourself, so alone, and with your intuition that you just took one step at a time, listening for the right direction to go? I remember being in Bali in 2019. It was the first time in my entire adult life that I felt so empowered to live life on my terms. I was making amazing money. I had amazing clients. And it was the first trip that I took by myself for an entire month away from my children, who were, I don't know, maybe 10 and 12 at the time, somewhere around there. And they had gone to their dad's for the summer. And I had 2 whole months to do whatever the hell I wanted to do. And that amount of time by myself alone was like, oh my God, like I'm a mom and I have 2 months. I don't have a boyfriend. Like it's just me. And having had kids since I was 23, I didn't remember what having that time and space looked like. I did not remember what that was like. When you grow up with kids, which is what I did because I had them so young, I think that there's this feeling of like, wait, freedom? Like I can do whatever I want when I want to do it? Oh my God. When you have children, I have so many friends that are having kids and they're in their 40s and I can't fathom it, right? But they have that knowing of doing whatever they want to do whenever they want to do it. And I didn't remember that. So I was in Bali and I was like, oh my God. Oh, look at all this time I have to just tune and listen to myself. And I went surfing. I learned how to surf in Bali. I was going every day with my teacher. It was just the most incredible, amazing experience for me to feel like for the first time in so long that I could just tune in listen to my internal guidance, and just go wherever my soul felt called to go. Oh, wow. With no children pulling at me, needing food, needing to go somewhere, without needing to be entertained. It was just me and me alone. And this is when I first tapped into that experience of what's it like to just tune in so deeply to my intuition and instinct. And with every single step, before I take any step, just listen. What is the next step to take? What is the next step to take? And I remembered that after I had gone through this huge burnout of like, oh, remember what that was like? Let me get back there. So surrendering in life is something that generally we have this inner knowing of how to do that because we're forced to figure it out. And then we're like, oh, right, yeah, okay, just listen for the next clue. Listen for the next clue. Okay, now listen for the next clue. And this is such a beautiful way to, like, our imprint of this can be applied to the bedroom. Because the thing is that most of us struggle to apply surrender in a sexual experience. We find it challenging to create the same sort of magic in our sexual lives when our mind is preoccupied with to-do list, pressures to achieve orgasm, pressures to give our partner pleasure, just all of these external goals that we put around sex and pleasure, insecurities that we have about our body, how long we might be taking, what we look like, how we smell, all of these things take us out of surrender. So even though we might know how to do it or intuitively learn how to do it because we're forced to in our day-to-day life, it doesn't mean that we know how to do it in the bedroom. Because I don't think you're ever really going to be in a position where you're kind of like forced to surrender sexually. Like no one's going to just turn off your cortical control, your thinking mind, and you're just like, okay. Aside from sexual abuse or anything negative like that, right? So when we're intentionally creating and we want to create a surrendered experience in the bedroom, it takes practice. It takes actually following the steps that I'm going to share with you today to get to this point of just being so in tune with your body, of listening for the next right step to take. So I want to go over what some of those steps are. And I really think that this can be applied to anything that you are wanting to surrender in order to receive, whether it be pleasure, different types of orgasms, more orgasms, money, wealth, or love. So here are the 6 steps to surrender in the bedroom. The first one is to have a beginner's mindset. When you first learned about your body and your pleasure, you were curious and excited to explore and to play. You didn't have a freaking agenda. You didn't have a goal you were trying to achieve, likely. Maybe you did, but a lot of us didn't. Most of us didn't. We were just exploring and playing with our bodies, maybe when we were little kids, like under 10 years old. And some of us, we didn't have our first orgasmic or sexual experiences until we were teenagers, or some of us even in our 20s. And having a beginner's mindset is so key because it helps you to quit taking sex so seriously. This is one of the biggest problems I see with couples who've been in a relationship over 10 years, is they have gotten so serious about everything. Everything becomes like a huge talk that has to happen, or because they've been circling in the same conversations that's never led to a resolution, or that's never been effective in communication. They've just shut down this play and this adventure and curiosity in their sex life. And everything becomes so freaking serious. So the number one key to surrender is to get back to the play, the curiosity, the beginner's mindset of curiosity around a sexual experience. The second step to surrender in the bedroom is to drop goals and let go of expectations. Now, I talked about And the first step, just having the beginner's mindset. But in order to do that, you have to drop the goals and expectations. Stop trying to perform in the bedroom or achieve a specific outcome. Quit thinking that like you have to act like the porn star or sound like her or some erotic audio books or Dipsy, or this is a podcast of erotica. And some women just get in their mind that they have to look a certain way, they have to sound a certain way, and that they have to achieve a certain type of orgasm or 10 orgasms in order for a sexual experience to be successful. And men really get into this mindset. And what tends to happen is that if the man is in that mindset of, oh, I want to give you as many orgasms as possible, what happens to the woman? It shuts her down because she feels pressured. Now, men experience a lot of pressure sexually as well, but so do women. And one of the things that really tends to pressure women is them feeling that their partner is trying to get them to come as quickly as possible or to have as many orgasms as possible. So the second step to surrendering in the bedroom is you gotta drop all of that, let go of the expectations, and just let it be about being in the present moment, which leads me to number 3. Step number 3 to surrender in the bedroom is to get present in all 5 senses. Why all 5 senses? Because when your sense of sight, sound, touch, smell, and taste are activated, it's impossible for you to not be in the present moment. If you are activating all of your senses in a sexual experience, it's seriously the quickest way to become super present, to get out of your cortical thinking brain, and to be more in your body, to be present. So the thoughts aren't constantly taking over because you've directed your brain to the present, where you're not thinking about the past, you're not thinking about the future. Instead of the laundry or the to-do list or the dishes in the sink, you are in the moment, and all of the best sex happens in the moment. Now, this leads me to step 4. Am I on 4? I think I'm on 4. Okay. It is give your mind a job. Ask yourself, where is the pleasure in my body right now? Where is it right now? And then right now, and then right now. Give your mind a job, or it's going to find one for you that's generally not going to be helpful to your experience of surrender in the bedroom. If you do not direct your mind, it's going to find a direction, and this direction is likely not going to be supportive of the experience you're wanting to have. This is why I always give my clients this direction of, okay, when you're having a sexual experience with your partner, instead of the thoughts that are coming to your mind about, oh, I should be doing this thing instead, or oh, I wish you'd just hurry up, automatically switch your mind. It becomes a mantra almost. Where is the pleasure in my body right now? Where is the pleasure in my body right now? And if you did the previous step and you're present in the moment, it's going to be a lot easier to find pleasure in your body. Even if you don't feel a lot of pleasure or turn on, there is something in your body that can be, and always is, experiencing a little bit more pleasure than something else. If you were to tune in right now, and I want to encourage you to do that, I want you to just scan your body and just notice what feels pleasurable in my body right now. Where is pleasure in my body right now? I'm feeling and experiencing this fluttering in my solar plexus area that feels really tingling and soft and light. I don't know what you're experiencing, but when you just tune in and ask yourself that question, you can feel for something, even if it's just 1% more pleasurable than everything else. Now, I work with a lot of ladies that are totally numb and disconnected. They have no sensation. They don't feel anything. And one of the things they say is, well, I don't feel anything. Okay, I get you're not feeling much, but I want to encourage you to find something that feels like you can feel into it 1% more than everything else. So you have no excuses, okay? Everyone has the ability to do this. Give your mind a job, or it's going to direct focus elsewhere, out of the moment. Okay, the next one, I think this is 5 steps, not 6. I'm sorry, I got that wrong, but it's 5 steps. All right, the next one is to ride the pleasure wave until it is done. Think of it like you're a surfer riding a wave. When you find the pleasure wave, you get your surfboard on and you ride that wave until it is gone. And then it's like you're latching your mind, all of your attention and your focus onto that pleasure wave. And then you get in the flow of that wave. And then you just ride with it and you experience the presence and the ecstasy and the drop of the ego. And that's where the surrender happens. When you are in the flow and riding the wave is when the surrender happens. And then eventually the wave dies and there's no more wave, right? This is like after orgasm, the wave dies. Okay, great. Where's the next one? Let's go look around for the next one. And then you're going back to the previous step of asking, where's the pleasure now? Where's the pleasure now? So you're constantly seeking, where's the pleasure in my body? And then you're getting on that wave and riding the wave of pleasure. Now, let's think about a surfer for a moment. Is a surfer sitting out there in the water in between waves? One of my teachers taught me, this is actually a former client. She was a professional surfer. She has a surf shop in California, and I went out with her once and she taught me some things about the waves in the Pacific that were drastically different than the Indian Ocean. But she was sharing how the waves generally come in threes, that there won't be anything for a while, and then all of a sudden there'll be 3 big waves. And if you think of it like you're waiting out there for the next wave, no one's like, come on, where's the waves? Surfers are just like chilling, right? They're just relaxed, enjoying being out on the water. It's a good time. Oh my God, there's no stress. Like it's just fun and peaceful, and you're present. Sometimes you're with a friend and you're chatting, and it's just a great time. And no one's worried about when the freaking wave is going to come. No one is worried about it. Because one thing that's true about the ocean is that there are always going to be waves. And it might be a long period of time before you get that next trifecta, but it's always going to come. And that's where some women who really struggle experiencing a buildup of pleasure or feeling pleasure in their body at all is because they're worried they're just not going to feel any. They're worried and concerned, and then the worry and the fear and the stress keeps them from feeling any pleasure in the first place. So if you think of it like you're out on the water waiting for the next wave, you can certainly trust that there will be more waves that you can ride, more pleasure waves to ride. They just might not come in the timing that you are expecting, which is why you got to get rid of those expectations. There's no surfer that's like, okay, the forecast says this, and because the forecast says this, if they don't come, it's going to be a terrible surfing experience, and then I'm going to be upset and mad, and it's not going to be successful, and then my partner's going to judge me, and blah, 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 blah. This is madness, okay? You don't need to do this. So surrendering is just about trusting that the pleasure is always going to be there, and when it comes around, riding the wave of pleasure until it's over. And then waiting for the next pleasure wave. So that is how I want to help you frame surrendering in the bedroom. Now, there's so much more to this. I know it sounds so simplistic when I put it like this, but I do understand that this takes women months of practice when they've been conditioned to experience sex and pleasure in a particular way to get to everything I just said and to actually experience it and embody it. It takes a while. All right. Now, this is what I'm going to lead and guide you through in my Surrender to Receive workshop this upcoming Saturday, June 24th. I'm actually going to lead and guide you through practices that are going to help support you to be able to ride these pleasure waves and not worry about when they're going to come. So you can feel that you can let go of control of trying to make the waves come. Like you wouldn't go spray a water hose in an ocean thinking that you could create a wave. Like, that's super silly when you think about it like that. But often that's what we try to do in a sexual experience or elsewhere, right? You could take everything I just said and apply it to money and wealth and love as well. If you recognize that money is always there, that wealth building is always there, that it's part of the wave and you are the wave, you don't need to go and strive to get it or to find it because it's always there. And when you apply this to love, like maybe you are single and you're really struggling to allow love and your partner to come into your life. Well, it's kind of the same thing. If you are the ocean and the ocean is love and you are love, what are you trying to get? Because it already is in you. And when you realize that you are the ocean of pleasure, you are the ocean of love, you are the ocean of money, you are the ocean of wealth, and you can surrender to this and just trust that life is going to take you on the journey that's going to take you. This is when the magic and the beauty happens. This is when the absolute miracles that you could have never crafted on your own, that you never could have put together in your own mind. Like, this is where the serendipity, the kismet happens, where, oh my God, can you believe what just happened? This is where the magic happens, is in these moments of surrender, of recognizing that, oh, I am this. And when I just tune in and pay attention and get into the flow of life, everything just works out more easily. I experience more pleasure, I experience more orgasms, I make more money, my investments and savings grow, and I experience more love. So this is what happens when we learn to surrender. We can receive. So in the Surrender to Receive workshop happening Saturday, June 24th, it's all about unleashing somatic intelligence so that you can experience the bliss of surrender. Now, I talked about somatic intelligence in the previous episode. If you don't know what that term is, if that doesn't make any sense to you, I want to encourage you to listen to the previous episodes so you can find it out. So in the workshop, it's going to teach you how to discover somatic intelligence, okay? Emotional intelligence, everyone knows what that is. And 10 years from now, women are going to be complaining, oh, there's no men that are somatically intelligent. Just mark my words. Mark my words. It's going to happen. Women are always whining and complaining about how men aren't emotionally intelligent. It's not true at all. I don't believe it. Men are incredibly emotional. Incredibly emotional. And to say that they aren't is just ridiculous. So while I don't agree with it, that's just in the love coaching and the dating coaching space. This is one thing that I know some of my colleagues hear all of the time, is women complaining about men not being emotionally intelligent. And I think that it's going to be the same thing for somatic intelligence in several years, is that women are going to be so in tune with their body that they're going to be wondering why men aren't as well. And while I think men are going to be super in tune with their body too, I just know that this is what's going to be happening. All right, so loves, if you're ready to experience a deeper, to grow your somatic intelligence and experience deeper bliss from being able to surrender because you have this mind-body awareness and you're able to let go of control, then you're going to get a lot out of this workshop. So why join it? Well, you're going to gain some very practical tools and techniques to release emotional blockages that are going to allow you to feel more pleasure and connection to your body. The only thing keeping you from pleasure is blocks. They're usually emotional blocks because you don't want to feel anything. You don't want to feel the negative shit. Well, guess what? You got to feel the negative shit if you want to feel the pleasure. It's just how it goes, sweetheart. Okay, you can't experience all the pleasure and ecstasy there is in life without also experiencing the pain. If you don't like it, oh well. Get some courage, grow some ovaries. Okay, you're also going to want to join because you're going to learn to unlock more pleasure in your body by releasing the emotions. And you're going to also meet with some amazing other like-minded women in our community on a similar journey. So if you want to remain anonymous, you absolutely can. All you got to do is change your name on your Zoom screen, and you can keep your video off the entire time. No one's video or audio needs to be on at all. The way that we will be engaging in the workshop is in the chat box. So if you want to type a comment, ask a question in the chat box, you can do that, but there won't be anyone coming on the screen other than me. You'll only be able to see and hear me the whole time. So the first hour, I'm just going to be teaching on somatic intelligence as a key to surrender. So you're going to gain an understanding of how your body holds the key to unlocking surrender and pleasure, and discover the actual techniques to release the physical and the emotional blockages. And then we're actually going to do the practices. It's going to, what is that? Okay, it is nothing sexual. You feel like, oh, this is kind of an edge for me. I'm not sure about this. Don't worry. There's nothing sexual in any of this stuff. Okay, don't worry about it. We're not going to get super sexy today. It's going to be more of a release and getting in touch with your body and your sensations. So it will involve some meditation, some gentle breath work, some movement, some nervous system release, that sort of thing. But that's really it. It's going to be really gentle, really beautiful. And then we'll leave our last hour for Q&A. You might have a lot of questions that are popping up as you move through the practice. You also might just have an amazing experience and want to hop off the call. It's totally good either way, but I'll be on there for an hour after the call to answer your questions. I would love to see you there. You can sign up at the link in the show notes for the Surrender to Receive workshop. Yes, there will be a replay. Yes, there will be a replay. It will be available for through Tuesday. The workshop happens on a Saturday. It will be available, 3 days through Tuesday. So there will be a replay. You will get it, but you have to sign up to get the replay. Even if you can't be there Saturday at noon Eastern, you can still get it and do the workshop. This will be a paid workshop. After this workshop is done, people will have to pay to do the workshop. This is the only time I'll be doing it free. So if you do not want to pay for it and you want to do it live with me, then I highly encourage you to sign up. I also want to give a little hint about something that is coming up very soon that I am so excited about. Now, one of the reasons that I quit offering my group program in November of last year was because it wasn't fun for me anymore. I was bored to death. I felt like I wasn't utilizing my creative abilities and capacities. It wasn't challenging for me anymore. People were getting amazing results, but I was like, this isn't fun. I don't like it anymore. And one thing that I realized about all of that was that when your work doesn't feel like play, when you're living at this capacity and this level, and your work, the work that you are here to do in this world, when it doesn't feel like play and it's not fun, it just doesn't work out. People can feel it. And one of the reasons was because I didn't feel challenged. I love a good challenge, and couples have always been an edge for me. Working with couples is like, ooh, this is a lot. Working with couples is a lot. Props to coaches and therapists who work with couples, because it's two of everything all at once, plus the relationships. It's more like three things at once, as opposed to just one individual with their own things. So I have worked with couples recently. In my Sex Goddess program, I work with the woman individually first, and then I bring in the other party. And it's a beautiful way that I've been able to work with people that I really enjoy. But I have a new group program coming up for couples that I'm super excited to share with you. I'm not sharing the details just yet, but it is called the Epic Sex Blueprint, and it will be out next week. And it is a 12-week group program, and it's going to help those of you who are feeling that your communication around sex sucks, where your connection, it could be better, it's not really strong, you want a deeper spiritual connection. And it's for those of you who just want to spice things up because things get real boring and you're a little bored and you're ready to explore your sexuality with your partner, but you don't know where to start. You don't know how to make it feel safe. It's ideally for couples who have been in a relationship more than 10 years, but it's not required. But it's kind of made for what I've seen is very common in couples who've been together for over a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades sometimes, is that everything just becomes their routine. And then they haven't done any work to explore and expand their sexuality. And they're left like, is this all there is? I don't know what more there is. And even if there is, I don't know how to make it feel safe to explore all these things. So I made a program for you and I'm going to tell you all the details next week. All right, loves, take care and we will see you then. Bye.